In 1989, my brother called Ogoni intellectuals, writers, other writers, university lecturers, doctors, and everybody together in what is called a SWOT analysis. SWOT in this sense means we were examining our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our strengths. And we produced papers on Ogoni womanhood, Ogoni culture, Ogoni health, the Ogoni environment. At the end of it, all the papers were submitted to him, and he came out with a document called the Ogoni Bill of Rights. The Ogoni Bill of Rights, in 20 short sentences or 20 phrases, outline the history of the Ogoni people and what the oil has done to us. And we also outline our demands to the Nigerian government and to Shell. Our demands included a right to protect our environment, right for the Ogoni people, for the Ogoni language to be taught in school, a right to clean air, as I said, and also a right to political autonomy. Political autonomy in this sense is not new in Nigeria. We started as 3 regions. Due to agitation by the other minority groups, it went to 4. More agitations, and it increased to 12, then 19, then 30 states, and just about 4 weeks ago, 36 states. Nobody has been hanged for looking for political autonomy in Nigeria. It is an ongoing process. Other people have been asking, they have been getting, possibly because they have people in the army. But when we ask for that, Shell did not initially reply to any of our demands. The military government did not, in 1990, reply to the Ogoni Bill of Rights. Between 1990 and 1993, saw environmental activism, grassroots movements, grassroots activism in Ogoni. The Federation of Ogoni Women's Association, FOWA, membership of about 50,000 were very active in this because the environmental destruction of our land affected the women mostly, being mostly the farmers. They are the people who had to walk more than 5 kilometers to get good drinking water for their children and for their husbands. They were the people who used to bring so many children to my clinic, and they had been suffering a lot. They were the most active part of our movement. We also had the Council of Ogoni Professionals, which I belong to, the National Youth Council of Ogoni People, NICOP, and the Ogoni Council of Churches. There were 9 different units formed in every village in Ogoni. And with this, within time, we were able to mobilize people so that in 1993, January 4, 300,000 people came out to protest peacefully against the environmental destruction of Ogoni land and the political marginalization of the Ogoni people by the Nigerian state. The protest went very peaceful. To my mind, the peaceful nature of that protest shows the discipline of the Ogoni people and the quality of the leadership of MOSOP, led by my brother at that time. The response of Shell and the military to that protest needs some examination. The military dictators at that time, General Babangida, invited my brother and 4 other Ogoni leaders to have a discussion on what was happening. They met with the Security Council, and in the discussion, they were asked what was the problem. The Ogoni Bill of Rights was presented in person again. Shell did not invite anybody for a talk. What did Shell do? Shell put out a press release, propaganda. They accused us of violence. They accused us of trying to sabotage, of sabotaging their installations. They accused us of trying to secede from the country. They were able to confuse other Nigerians. All they said is that we wanted to take the oil away. They confused also the Nigerian military with their lies. Violence. The Ogoni people and MOSOP are poor. that poor. We cannot afford the instruments of violence. Before we started on the struggle, we had examined other struggles all over the world. The civil rights movement in America, the Gandhi struggle in India. We looked at the Palestinian struggle, the struggle that was going on in Northern Ireland. And it occurred to us that even other struggles that started violently, they had to renounce violence before there was any resolution. So we decided to start from a non-violent path. Most of us in the struggle do not have any training for violence. We do not have any inclination for violence. We've never had it, and we will not. To the legacy of my brothers and others, we will continue. We'll rededicate ourselves to non-violence, to the peaceful ways. We were taken aback by the massive propaganda by Shell and later the Nigerian military. However, we hadn't done a lot of work. In 1992, we had gone to the United Nations Commission on the Eradication of Racial Discrimination to talk about our case, and said, after we have presented our case, the UN body said that what Shell was doing to Ogoni land represented a developmental racism. That was the word of the UN, 1992. We also visited a lot of organizations that have done, that have helped nonviolent struggles and who believe in nonviolence. Amnesty International, Greenpeace, Friends of the Earth, Cultural Survivor, all these organizations we went to see to tell them about what we wanted to do, why we wanted to do it. And their support was very, very welcome and is still welcome at that initial stage. My brother had also explained to the Nigerian intelligentsia, also explained to the Nigerian press and his friends in the government as at that time about what we wanted to do and a non-violent path. We were not at any time trying to prevent any other Nigerians to have access to their resources. We were involved in a process where communities should be empowered to fight for their rights non-violently. We wanted democracy to come back to Nigeria. All these were in a package. The issue of minority rights, the issue of environmental rights, and also the issue of human rights respect. This, we thought, was what everybody should like. But the company in our midst did not want that to happen. They have tried as much as possible to divide and rule the Ogoni people. It wasn't possible, and they possibly started using the method of divide and kill. My brother was arrested several times and always released, arrested on trumped-up charges. International protests and local protests will come, he will be released. The protests, both in Ogoni and outside Ogoni land, has always been non-violent. All our supporters have been non-violent people. I have not heard of anybody protesting anywhere against what is happening in Nigeria on behalf of the Ogoni people being violent. That is our peaceful means, and we encourage people to continue on the same. My brother, we had a very, very good struggle. We had everything a non-violent struggle, should have. The press in Nigeria and in Europe was talking about what we were doing. Also, there was unity and commitment in Ogoni. We did not need anything. Nobody needed to die or be killed for a struggle. There was still no need for violence. Shell and the Nigerian military devised another means to try and divide the people. They used arms, soldiers, to destroy our villages. Within this time, 27 villages have been destroyed, more than 2,000 people killed. All the same, the Ogoni people were still on the struggle, non-violent. If we were violent, if there was any inclination of violence, at least one person, one, from Shell, all the Nigerian military would have died. One person. 2,000 Ogoni people have died, but not one from Shell or the Nigerian military. Apart from that, they could not defeat our struggle or the people. On May 21st, 1994, I was in my surgery in Ogoni when I noticed my patients telling me about the presence of a large contingent of armed personnel into Ogoni. My brother had come from Europe on the 12th of May to the commercial capital of Nigeria, Lagos, and he came to Port Harcourt, which is 30 minutes away from Ogoni, on the 17th of May. Before this, we had had our meetings during the period he was in Europe, and we had arranged for him to tour 8 villages in Ogoni to have rallies, which is what we always do, to mobilize people and to tell people where we are in the struggle. My brother came to Ogoni on the 20th of May and had his rallies in 4 villages. There was a lot of singing and dancing. As you saw there, we always dance and smile, even when we are angry. We do not want our adversary to know about how angry we are, so we dance. Everything went very well. On the 21st, as I mentioned, he came also to Ogoni. But on this 21st, the soldiers followed his car into Ogoni, and as he was going about to the village where he was supposed to have a rally, they turned him back, and he went back without coming out of his car. I was in my surgery. A professional colleague of mine came to tell me that my brother has been turned back. I thought that, wow, this is another one again. And I went to the police station to ask the soldier and the policeman who had accompanied my brother, and I asked a simple question: where is my brother? And they said that my brother is in his house in Port Harcourt. And I went to Port Harcourt immediately, and I met him in his office. That was about 3 p.m. on the 21st of May. He looked at me. When I saw him, he was writing. That's what he does most of the time. And he finished writing and gave me the paper to give to the press houses, outlining how he was stopped from going into the heartland of Ogoni to address the people. And as I was going, he saw that I was worried, and he said I shouldn't be, that in a struggle like ours, that we are in the period of negotiation. And the period of negotiation is usually the most difficult period in any struggle, that your enemies try to make you as weak as possible so that they negotiate on their own terms. Those were his last words to me, and I left, did everything, went back to my house. 2 a.m. the same day, his driver came to my house to tell me that he had been arrested. I was annoyed with me for coming to wake me up at 2 a.m. because my brother, we know he's always been arrested and released. However, he told me the manner of this arrest, that he was just picked up from his bed in his house and thrown into an army truck. I knew that this was serious, so I went to see his lawyers the next morning. On getting to see his lawyers, I saw in the press and on the radio that 4 of our chiefs, Ogoni chiefs, prominent people in Ogoni, had been killed the previous day, and that my brother and some of our leaders have been arrested in connection with the killing. And also 10 other Ogoni people were wanted in connection with the killing. The 10 others who were wanted were not violent youths. Now, they were the doctors, the lawyers, the journalists, the university professors that